If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to Downfall Network for more cool content. What's up, everyone? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have an album review for you. So, yet another one that was on our radar, which our radar reaches far and wide. And
a vast radar.
Pretty much involves anything heavy, was the new one from Pallbearer.
Woo!
Forgotten Days. This comes out on the 23rd of October on Nuclear Blast Records, which I think is an odd fit, but it kind of makes sense for them going for a bigger label with bigger distribution.
Yep, I do too, because I would not peg these guys at all for Nuclear Blast. Maybe Profound Lore.
Yeah, or something sludgy.
Something with a bunch of sludge bands on it.
Heavy doom bands.
Maybe like Relapse in the early days.
Actually, they scream Relapse band.
Actually, yeah. I could see them on Relapse. Anyway, they're not on any of those labels, so.
So yeah, this is their first one on Nuclear Blast. These guys formed in 2008 in Little Rock, Arkansas, and this is their fourth full-length overall. I pretty much have gotten into them from the start, but I was absolutely 100% made a fan with their album Foundations of Burden, which I think is a bleak masterpiece, which, man, do these guys know how to be bleak, downtrodden, gloomy.
Goodness gracious.
Pick the adjective you want there because, man, they are it.
I'm going to take an extra dose of Zoloft tomorrow to get me past the depression that stemmed from this album.
I've actually seen these guys twice, too, and I was telling him the bands I've seen them with. At one show, I saw them with Enslaved, which seems like an interesting mix. But then another show, I saw them with Skeleton Witch, Dust Bolt, and Obituary, which, man,
also
did they stick out.
doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, but it was awesome, and they stood out, and my God, did they kill it.
Yeah, and I've never seen Pallbearer either. Now, that's going to change because this record, goddamn. The song Forgotten Days, holy shit. That riff, the riff in the verse, is like crawling downwards into hell.
Dude, it is so appropriately doomy. It might be one of the doomiest riffs I've heard this year, and my God, I have listened to a lot of doomy riffs.
We've listened to a lot of nasty-ass music,
but this one really felt like a descent into hell. Like, the riff descends downward, and I mean, it really has that feel because these guys labor atmosphere. It's a big part of their sound, but this is a bit different album considering their last one was very dreamy and atmospheric. Still loads of riffs on it. This one is more about the riffs and vocal hooks.
Yes.
Really big choruses, really great vocal lines. Their vocalist, he sounds a lot like Brondailer and Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, like it's a mix between Papa from Ghost and Brondailer.
Those kind of light, airy, but creepy vocals.
Yeah.
And lots of like layered harmonies, both in vocals and guitars. But this song alone had me hooked. The solos were appropriately dreary, and my God, like the riffs just scream Black Sabbath, Sleep,
I Hate God,
Crowbar. Like, it's so appropriately doomy and sludgy, and there's a really cool clean break on here with like really awesome lead work, but then it somehow gets even heavier before it goes back into that chorus again.
I made the sour lemon face for most of this record, just like...
You can't wash this song off.
Yep.
And that's how it starts. By the time you get down to the giant 12-minute epic, which this is kind of interesting for this album because most of the time you're greeted to a lot of songs over 10 minutes. There's only one on here that's over 10 minutes, and you're actually greeted to some of the shortest songs they've ever written. Now, granted, they're not that short. Most of them are like 6.5, 7 minutes.
Well, no,
there's one that's about 4.
There's a couple of them that are 4. One's like 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Actually, it's one of my gripes. Like, this is not the band to write short songs.
But they do a lot within that confine.
Yeah. But yeah, for as far as like Silver Wings is concerned, the 12-minute, 18-second masterpiece, I found myself zoning out at times, but it never lost my interest. Like, it didn't feel like 12 minutes.
It really is like a journey of a song. Like, it starts off almost kind of like post-metal meets desert rock. So, Neurosis meets Caius.
And Gatecreeper.
Yeah. And it has that overall heft to the tone. And, man, we got to talk about this production because it's marvelous. It is so dense but it's mixed so well.
Yep. God, it's just so well done. This album is beautiful. Never has something so depressive and bleak and dark and sludgy and doomy been so beautiful.
I mean, they love the lush, like, harmonies. There's a lot of really cool synths in here, and they're very, like, sci-fi synths.
Yeah,
like,
they're all, it feels like you're just in space. Like,
yeah.
Like they left.
They found all the cold, dark voids they could on Earth, and they went out to the biggest cold, dark void they could find, which was space.
Right, and then the spaceship left them there, and they were like, well, shit.
Let's just write a cool, depressing album. But, I mean, again, it feels epic at the same time. Like, it doesn't completely bring you down because there's enough, like, big choruses and giant vocal passages and harmonies to kind of lift it up, but it never loses that dreary feel. And this song, Silver Wings, is probably the closest to what the bulk of their sound sounds like. Mm-hmm. The songs that are very different on here, like Stasis.
Yep.
Stasis is short, little bit more up-tempo for them, but up-tempo for them is still not very fast, but riff-driven, chunk-driven.
I actually compared it to, like, if Iron Maiden was a stoner doom band.
Yeah.
It's the riffs in here, like a lot of melodies, a lot of harmonies. Ugh.
But even within, like, the shorter songs, they really know how to build tension. Like, they'll isolate certain riffs, especially when they know they got an absolute banger of a riff, which this is pretty much just made of absolutely amazing riffs. But they'll isolate it, bring it in with some, like, accented toms, and the bass tone is so giant on this.
Oh my dear lord. The bass tone, first of all, it's a nasty bass tone, but while it has grit to it, it's also got some, it's like smooth, buttery, rich syrup.
Yeah, pouring out of speakers. Rite of Passage, you get a real good isolated section of that bass tone, and the bass really carries that song. But it is, again, full and just dense and massive on its own without the guitars. It almost didn't need it. I mean, the guitars showed up. But it's just, I don't know, amazing and very smooth. It just really, I don't know, just accentuates this awesome song.
Yeah, yep.
It's hard to describe it. I mean, the bass is such a huge part on this, and it really just fills out the sound because when you add both the guitars in there and that bass, it is just this wall.
Yep.
It is lumbering, slow, heavy, and all-encompassing. But again, there's lots of beautiful, like, dissonant harmonies.
Like, it sounds like an ugly cry. You know? Like,
it really does. And, I mean, the only drawbacks, maybe some of the shorter songs, which, again, are short for them, not for, you know,
not for normal bands.
They do feel a little bit more condensed, but I kind of like them as, like, short little isolated rockers, like almost singles if they were going to have singles.
It's almost like a barn burner if you imagined a barn burner being, you know, played at like 100 BPM in the depths of hell.
And then the last song, Caledonia, which opens up with an absolutely gorgeous harmony. It feels like you're adrift at sea.
Just those soft drums and that nasty bass tone and that pretty ambient melody.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, ooh.
But it takes, like, an interesting turn. After it builds up and gets heavy, it almost turns into a Doom version of a Cure song.
Yeah. Yep.
It's an interesting transition. I like that they're broadening out their sound a little bit, but the transition I felt was a little knee-jerk, and it really caught me off guard, but I liked it.
Right. This actually, and it's not a big gripe, this actually was legitimately my only gripe. Like, because the transition was just weird. And they completely abandoned this, like, 2-minute long intro that they had that was really kind of setting up, I thought, the pace for not the song it became.
Yeah, but it did end really well. Like, it ended in traditionally great, doomy, just amazingness.
Yep.
So, I mean, I can't really knock them on there, and I like the fact that this is a different album. It's a little bit riffier, I guess.
It's definitely riffier. There are some nasty-ass riffs.
And I like the fact that they really labored hooks.
Yeah. Yep.
It was a bit more like hooks over atmosphere. Not entirely over it, but they changed the ratio. It was like 70% riffs, 30% atmosphere.
And even the vocal hooks, not so much just the instrumentation hook, but the vocal hooks. Like,
Oh, yeah.
This is a very well done, beautiful, depressing
Huge,
album.
Depressing choruses, but somehow they're uplifting and
Yep.
beautiful if you really search through all the murk and mire,
Yep.
because there's plenty. Overall, I gotta give this 4.5. I wasn't sure if they were going to be able to beat their last album because I really absolutely loved it, and I can't think of the name of it right now. I can see the cover in my head. But this is a different chapter for them, and again, this is a really cool signing for Nuclear Blast because they don't usually have a lot of bands like this on their label.
Mm-mm.
But I think they honed a gorgeous album that didn't feel like a repeat of any previous ones, and God, showed off the riffs. This album is fantastic. Go out and get it.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry if you're bummed out by it, but just listen to it. It's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it 4.5 as well. I mean, pretty much what Nick said, dude. I don't have a lot to add on top of that. Man, oh man, the emotion in this album and just
You feel it.
yeah, you really did like the end of Caledonia. Just actually, it brought out almost emotion in me. I was just like, God, that is so disgusting but beautiful. And I was just like, man, that really hits home.
You guys got me in the feels.
Yeah, this album is 100% badass. I'm gonna jam this again. I'm 100% certain it'll hit end of year for me. Go out and buy this album, man. We really gotta continue to do stuff like buy music
Yes.
and shirts, and these bands need our help as well. To keep putting out content and albums and definitely show Pallbearer that you give a shit and go buy the album. I'm gonna buy it as soon as we turn off this camera. So yeah.
So if you enjoyed the review, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe because we do stuff like this all
All the
the
time.
time. We will catch you later.
Take care.